Hey there, Andrea. This is Chris with the Design, and this is your walkthrough for your site on how to edit it. It may seem overwhelming initially, but if you just, you know, practice, whack at it a little bit each day, it'll very quickly become very easy to do. It's a very well adopted platform. Lots of people do it. Lots of people that don't do web design use it, such as you know, HR people and admin people, office managers, stuff like that. So the first thing that we're going to do is log into the site, and you can log into any WordPress site by doing a slash wp-admin. That's how you get to the WordPress admins on any site. And you hit enter, and it will ask you for your credentials, which I sent to you via email today. So you just hit login, and this is your back-end dashboard. So the dashboard here doesn't really contain anything useful. This is more for like I don't know, people that are really plugged into like the WordPress community and stuff and forums, and that's not something you're going to be doing. So the main stuff that we're going to be working with over here is on the left, and this is all of your plugins and the capabilities of editing your site. So I'll go through them really quick. The 7 is the name of your theme. So this is how you interact with some of the themes stuff, and also up top, theme options. This is where you edit your overall site stuff. So let's say that you wanted to change your logo, you would go to branding. Let's say you wanted to change your fonts, you would go to typography. If you wanted to change how your header and your page titles looked here, if you wanted to change the color of your buttons, these changes here are how you adjust the entire design of your site. They're not page by page. Anything that you change here, for instance, if I change all the buttons to orange, every button on the site is going to change to orange, basically. Posts is your blog posts. It's not a page. It's an article. It's a specific content type. Not really something that you're going to be using unless you start blogging, in which case you'll mess with posts. Media is just your media library. This is anything that you've uploaded to the site goes into the media library. You can view it all here, change names, delete it, whatever you need to do. Pages. This is the main content type that we're going to be dealing with. So you come in here to pages, you'll see all these pages. These are all the different pages that you have. And you'll see some that are draft status. Draft means that it's not published. It's just a back-end draft. If you want to publish it, you can publish it. So there's 2 ways you can edit a page. First, let's go to the About Us page. You can hit the Quick Edit button, which just allows you to edit some of the base stuff. So for instance, I can change it from published to a draft. I can change the name. I can change the URL. I can change the date that it was published, etc., etc. If you want to do content editing, you actually have to just hit the Edit button, which takes you in to edit that page. So now this is what we went through when we were at Panera, and basically you have a section, which is a wrapper, and then you put a row into it, which is another container, and then you put anything inside of your container that you want, and you adjust the container to make different columns. So for instance, at the bottom of this page, if I wanted to add 2-column text, I would just add an element, make it a row, and I would just mouse over this thing, and you see this little icon that says 1/2, 1/2. I now have 2 columns. So now I can put a picture into this column, or an icon, or a Facebook bar, or whatever you want. I can put anything I want into this one. That's it. I'm going to delete that. Now, there's another way to edit your pages, which may be a little bit easier initially. If ever you want to get to the front end or the back end of your site, you just click this little home icon. So right now, I'm going to click on it, and since I'm in the back end, it's going to take me to the front end. So now I would go to the About Us page, and now I can edit this page by just clicking this Edit Page button. See, it takes us to the same place that we were before. You can edit your containers, you can do everything we talked about before. You can also do all of that quick edit stuff we were talking about. For instance, if you want to change the page title, if you want to change the page URL, you can also do that from this page too. For instance, you can hit here visibility, you can change it from public into private, you can change it from published into draft. I mean, so that quick edit was just really just a quick shortcut into editing some of the major features of a page. And that's it. That's it for editing. Now, click view page to go back to the front end. Now, we talked about the other builder on the front, the page builder, and you can use that one too. I don't use that one just because, I don't know, I don't think it's as feature rich. But you can if it's easier for you. This is going to more closely mirror the experience of Wix and Weebly, where it's sort of like drag and drop. So for instance, I can move this text around. Say I can move it up here, move it here. Let's say that I wanted to split this up. Right, so I'm going to change the layout. I'm going to pick 2. I'm going to update it, and as you can see now, I have 2 columns. So I could theoretically take this text box and move it over into the other column. I can move it down below into the footer. I mean, you drag and drop all you want. I'm not going to keep any of those changes, of course. All right, so let's go back into the back end. Comments are just comments on blog posts, not something you have to work about. Portfolio, testimonials, team, photo albums, slideshows, nothing that you're going to mess with, all that stuff. Appearance is how you edit your themes. If you were to install a new theme, it would come in here, but you probably don't have to worry about it. Plugins. Plugins is a big one. This is where all the plugins for your site are. There are not a lot of them, strictly because I am a proponent for not loading up a site with a bunch of plugins because it slows down the site. However, you can safely install quite a few plugins without causing your site to slow down. Now since I'm in here, I'm gonna update these really quick. So feel free, as you get comfortable in the back end, to look around and say, what's something that I'd like to add to the site? I can almost guarantee that there's been a plugin for it. So for instance, let's say you wanted to add a calendar of events, which we've already talked about. I don't think is going to be something that you're after, but let's say what you wanted to, right? You would just open up a web browser and search for WordPress calendar plugin. And here are a bunch of posts about what it is. So this one is a comparison. It's by themes. So this is not by WordPress, but this is a good comparison of the different plugins. So what I would do is I would look at the site and I would start reading which ones are good, okay? And taking a look at the screenshots. Okay, so that one looks pretty simple. This one, it looks old school, not something I'd be really interested in. Oh, my calendar looks nice. Now let's say you wanted to get this. So you click on the My Calendar and it takes you to the page. So this is on WordPress.org. This is where a majority of plugins are hosted, right? So this is just a view into the plugin where you can read about the plugin, you can read about the author, open troubleshooting tickets and whatnot. Let's say I wanted to add this to my website. Well, you could actually come here to go to plugins, go to add new. This one's called My Calendar by Joseph C. Dolson. I'm going to do a search for My Calendar. There it is, My Calendar by Joseph C. Dolson. To add this, I click Install Now. I click Activate. And you'll now notice I have a new button over here called My Calendar. When a plugin adds a button into the admin, it's either right here in the main admin bar or it comes under settings. Sometimes I'll add it in the settings menu. So you just got to look around for it. Now let's say I wanted to add this calendar, and I'm not going to do this, but I could go right here. I can edit this calendar. I can insert it into a web page. I can put it in a sidebar. I can put it on my home page, whatever I want to do. Basically, you just extended your whole website with a whole new functionality just by installing that plugin. Most plugins will have a free version and a pro version. As you can see, there's a little button here that says Go Pro. We're not really interested in it, but typically plugins will cost you like from between 10 and 50 bucks. So depending on what you're like, if you're just doing a calendar, I wouldn't pay for it. But let's say you're doing something like really specific, like you wanted to offer training to your employees and track certificates. That's something that's a little bit more complex. I would probably go with a paid plugin at that point, and I'd probably pay 50 or 60 bucks a year to get that functionality. So I'm just going to remove this this calendar because we don't need it. I'm going to click deactivate, delete, plugin's gone. All right, keeping on. Users is just how you manage your users if you want to give someone else access. As you can see, there's me and you. You would just come here and you'd click add new. You'd fill in the user information and send them an email, and they would then be able to log into the website to edit or whatever. So if you get somebody new that can do some work and you want to collaborate, you just create them an account and tell them to whack at it. Tools is not something that you're going to use ever. It's like for importing and exporting stuff. This is special settings for the page builder. You will probably not have to mess with that. Settings this is like the base WordPress settings. This is where we set stuff like your site title, WordPress URL, the email address of the admin. And actually, I am going to change that right now to yours. So basically, boom. So you're going to get an email from WordPress saying, hey, someone's trying to make you the admin of this. Do you accept? And you need to hit that accept button. Writing is how you configure blogging, which you don't need to do. Reading is how you configure reading, which is not something that you're really going to have to mess with. Discussion, again, is comments. Media is not something you're going to mess with. Permalinks is not something you are going to mess with. It is an important part. That's it. So there's a security plugin which just prevents people from hacking your site. The slider on the home page is actually a special slider, and it's right here under the 7 slider. And as you can look, you can see a slider right here. So we're going to click on that one. And here's your slider. Boom. Let's say you want to change the word corporate. You just double click here, and you can see the word corporate's here. You can change it. You can edit the font. Let's say I want to make this red. Whoops. Let's say I want to make it more of a blue-greeny for the site. Yeah, would be good. Let's make it a little bit bigger. So it's 49 pixels. Let's make it 54 pixels. You can see it's a little bit higher. It's bold. Change the font. This gets a little bit more complex. This is editing the timing, so you can apply animation. So for instance, you can have it slide in from the left or fade in from the background or do flips. That's how you control all this. That's something that you wouldn't want to do immediately. You'd want to like get more comfortable with WordPress first. But once you did get comfortable with WordPress, that would be very easy to do. It's not hard at all. Let's go ahead and give this a background. Let's see, style. All right. You just select the layer. Let me figure out background. There we go. Okay. I didn't have the toolbar folded out. Anyways, I'm going to hit background. I'm going to change the background to be white. And I'm going to increase the opacity. And there it is. All right. So let's go ahead and space this out a little bit. So padding top is good. Padding right is good. Padding bottom is good. Padding left, 10 pixels. That looks a little bit better. Let's go ahead back to the background and make it not quite fully opaque. Make it right there, yep. All right, now I'm going to go back to the font. I'm going to change the font color. Make it a little bit darker. Or even, I'll tell you what, let's make the font just black. See how that looks. All right, so that made the, that white font with all that stuff going on behind it was a little bit difficult to read for me anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and save the slider. I'm going to click up here to go to the front end. And I don't know, you can make the decision on whether or not you think that's better. And you can remove it and edit it. So let's say you wanted to edit this stuff on the front page. You wanted to change this. You just click Edit Page. Wait for the builder to come up. So let's scroll down to those icons. Here they are. So hover box. So let's look at it. So there you can see this is the Elijah House. The block says Elijah House, and then it says School and News. When you hover it, it says Read More in a red button. And here's just padding. So I mean, you could change anything about it. If you wanted to change the image, you would just hit the X, hit the plus, and put whatever new image you want. Yeah, that's that. I mean, it's really easy. I sent you the WP Bakery tutorial page. You'll want to watch those videos just in little bite-sized snippets. And then if you search for like WP Bakery examples, you'll actually see a site. Let's see if I can find it. Features. I'll have to find it and send it to you, but I know that there's a place where you can look at all of the content. All right, maybe it's right here. Content elements. Yeah, so there's a place where it shows you all of these things, and then it shows you examples of what it is. So when you look at a tweet me button right here, for instance, who knows what that looks like, but you can go to their website and see what the tweet me button looks like. It's an example. And that's free on their website. We just gotta find it. So I'll send that over to you. As far as editing the site goes, that's it. Your padding and stuff will be awkward at first, and you just got to remember that you can pad an item, you can pad the container around it, or you can pad the section around it. So, for instance, these boxes here, right? This whole unit. I click this little edit button on the row, and I go to design options, and I can give it a 20 pixel margin and a 15 pixel margin if I wanted to. Or I could go to this specific column and I could apply padding to this column, either to all of the columns or to just one column or to half the columns. Or I can go to the hover box and I can apply padding just to this box. I know that seems complex, but the reason is because this allows you to really control everything how you want it. Let's say that I want all of my boxes to have a little bit more white space above them. Well, then I would edit the row at that point. But let's say I just wanted one box to have more white space above it. Well, then I would edit the column. But let's say that I had multiple things in the column and I need to space them out. Well, then I would actually edit the padding or the margin on these particular items themselves. So always start big and go narrow when you're working on your paddings and stuff, because when you just add text in, it comes without padding, so it's going to look funny. It's going to be all smashed up against the top and bottom. So editing those padding settings is how you increase. See, as you can see, I added 30 pixel padding on either side of the quote there. And that's it. The nice thing about it is this: if you mess something up, you just come to here to revisions and you hit browse, and you can look back through your revisions. So I can go back. I mean, I can go all the way back to 7 months ago, changes I was making if I wanted to. I can go back to, the last time I edited this on June 20th. It tells you, when you go back to it, it tells you exactly what's changed. It's not going to make much sense to you as a non-coder because of the editor. The editor, all the editor really is just code in the back end. So this just shows you the code changes. It's not really going to mean much to you, but if you know that you edited something today that screwed up a page, you can always revert back to the day before, and you're good to go there. Um, and that is it. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, just shoot me an email. If you need something explained a little bit more in depth, you can let me know, and I'll do my best to help you out. And looking forward to it. Thanks.